So, I'm a big fan of the show. I remember watching the Thomas arc, and I was just kind of wondering how, was it always planned that he was going to be like a double agent? Was that from the beginning?
Yes.
Or was that just working there later?
Well, originally he was an intern who, like, we have interns every year, and we've all been interns, and so we know what it's like to be an intern and how you get treated when you're an intern. And so we wanted to have a character like that at the park. And then I remember online seeing fans being like, what does Thomas even do? He doesn't do anything. Because like once he just kind of settled in, he was like a real intern. He just kind of was in the background all the time.
Yeah, not saying anything.
But then like it started, like this idea started to kind of come up in the writers' meetings that he was more than that. And then we went back through when we made that episode, and like every episode it totally made sense. Like when he was off like not doing anything, he was like, no, he was doing something, you just didn't know it.
The first episode he made a call to mom, and that's how it ended.
Yeah.
And then like looking back, it's like, oh my god, he was a double agent all the time.
Yeah.
But that was just kind of worked in a little after.
A little bit. It was like, yeah.
Still awesome though.
It worked out well.
So do you guys have any like pre-recording rituals for when you go in to like record your lines?
We usually go, well, it's every Monday, and usually we all get there, and then we do levels and kind of read lines, and then we just go into it. I mean, it's to a point now where we know the characters really well, and it's pretty cool because in the record we have like the storyboards up on the wall, like on a big monitor. And so if there's ever anything that you're not sure about, like how hard are they yelling, you can see the picture and be like, oh yeah, just match that. So it's pretty fun.
I like to take a shower just because it's a small room. People get, so that's something I do every Monday.
There's a shower in there now.
Yeah. Nice.
How awesome is it working with Mark Hamill, and you guys try and sneak Star Wars stuff out of him?
It's really cool. He's amazing. He's super versatile, and like his voice acting range is crazy to watch him. And I think there's been like one line in the Skip Story episode where at the beginning of him talking about what happened in his past, he says, a long time ago in a high school far, far away. Yeah. But I think that's it.
What's cool about Mark, I mean, one of the great things in regard to Star Wars is like, I think we're all pretty respectful not to like grill him, but he'll just start talking sometimes about it. And then like the record comes to a halt and everybody, we just sit there and listen.
Yeah, everyone's like
trying
not to look like they're listening.
Yeah, right. You know, back when I was working, it's great.
Benson is a crazy awesome drummer. You actually play drums? Does that have inspiration into it at all?
No. I play the saxophone. I played the saxophone in high school. I'm not really much of a musician.
So you mean you didn't really play that drum solo?
I did not. Yeah,
we put the ping pong ball seat on you, remember?
And
it was just like, it was all mocap.
Oh, one take.
What would you guys say Mordecai and Ricky's favorite video is?
From the show or in real life if they were really here?
Either one.
Oh man.
I like Dig Champs.
Dig Champs, good game.
Yeah.
Toe Jam and Earl probably. They'd play Toe Jam and Earl together. Or Kid Chameleon would be awesome. Oh my gosh, there's so many games. That's a really hard question.
With episodes like Format Wars and its follow-up, like I have a Laserdisc player. Like I'm all about this. You guys are speaking my language, so I love episodes like that that get really niche, really specific, and beautiful tributes to elements of nostalgia that just don't see the light of day. So when you guys are mining ideas for the show, like what's the process like? You're like, what are we gonna nerd out about in this episode? Like, what are we gonna give the special treatment to? We love.
Well, those specific ones, like the last Laserdisc player and the Format Wars, like that was specifically like all the old technology and how fast it gets replaced and everything. But also, I mean, we were talking about this before in another interview about how it is for the adults, like who remember that stuff, because kids don't know what any of it is. They're like, what is a laser disc? it looks fake, but it was real.
But then they get to learn about this old stuff.
Yeah, we're informing children.
Yeah, it's history. We teach history.
Yeah, but it's really fun to go in and think like, oh, we should do an episode about that stuff or anything that's old that isn't around anymore. It's just fun to keep it kind of in that 80s realm.
So I noticed that a lot of the montage scenes have like early 90s rock music and like the video games are like 8-bit, 16-bit. What years would you say this show takes place and like why those years in particular?
Well, okay, so in the writer's room, we're very careful about not ever dating the show specifically, so we always keep it very vague. I would say that it's within the decades of like the 80s / maybe early 90s, somewhere in there, but there's no specific year, and we're really careful about like anytime they mention something that it's like really hard. Like we were talking about, like when did they go to high school? And if they're 23 years old, then that means that that's happening here. But if they always perpetually stay 23 years old, is that slowly like upticking where they were born? Like, I don't know, it's weird. But we don't want to ever date it. We want to keep it kind of fake. Well, the half-hour episodes are always a lot of fun to do. I mean, they're harder, so we don't do them as much, obviously. But we know that like the fans react to them more positively, and it's just fun to be able to sit for like half an hour and watch a whole story. And then when they wanted to do the movie, originally they were like, why don't we do a 44-minute special? And I was like, why? Let's do a real movie. And they let us go for it. And so we, for the past 2 years, have been working on the movie. And that was like a completely different process because normally we do premise-based storyboarding, and that means that the board artists write all the dialogue and we just kind of like write out the plot. But that ended up being this crazy thing. Like it's a beast to do a movie, and so it was really interesting because we like would cut stuff out and reboard stuff and we just redo things, and then we wrote like a script, and we really tried to wrap our heads around how to make something that you wouldn't get bored of that's over an hour long, because it's like that's a long time to sit down. And yeah, I think we finally did it, but it took over 2 years, and we were making the show at the same time, so it was a lot. Yeah, I'm really excited for people to see it. And we're going to show the trailer in panel today, so that'll be really cool.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you guys.